But my, we were going off of the picture that you provided from Healdsburg. That's what, you know, and that was the goal. And I didn't know how we were going to get there once we had the requirement of, you know, I knew we wanted it on the wall, but how do you do it without attaching it to the wall? And I am just so pleased with how it looks on that wall and made it so pretty.
Just to let everyone know that we are now live.
And we do have members in attendance on the Zoom platform.
This is one of our more popular meetings. There's only 2 attendees.
Cindy, when you can just give me the thumbs up when we're ready, I'll just look to you.
You're good to go, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you. I'd like to welcome folks to our City of St. Helena regular city council meeting, Tuesday, November 24th, 2020. I'm going to ask our assistant to the city manager, Priya Nixon, if you would help or bring us forward the information about the Spanish interpretation feature we now have.
Thank you, Mayor Ellsworth. So tonight's meeting will be we'll have Spanish interpretation available. So here's how you will access it. You'll need to access it through the Zoom app on a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer. And once you log in, you'll be able to see a little globe icon either on the bottom or the top part of your screen. You'll click on that, and it will allow you to access the interpretation. We have instructions on how to access the Zoom information on our website in English and in Spanish. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll move on to a paragraph that I need to read for the remote meetings. This is in accordance with Executive Order N-29-20 and guidance from the California Department of Public Health on gatherings. Remote public participation is allowed. We will address the order in the following ways. Members of the public may not physically attend meetings. The City Council meeting will be live streamed on Comcast Channel 28 and on the city's website, barring technical difficulties. Those members of the public wishing to participate must do so remotely via Zoom electronic meetings in the following ways: by either logging onto the Zoom link located on the meeting agenda. Please download the app to your computer or mobile device and enter the meeting ID, or by calling a listed number and enter the meeting ID. Public comment for City Council meetings will be accepted via email to publiccomment@cityofsthelena.org. All public comments must be emailed by 4 p.m. prior to the meeting. Emailed public comments will not be read out loud, but will be publicly available and attached to the online City Council agenda. Please see the end of the agenda for detailed public participation instructions. And Priya has just helped us understand how the Spanish interpretation will work. And Ms. Nixon, is there any additional information about public participation?
Yes, let me share my screen. So for folks who are here to participate, there are a few ways to do that. You can either join via the Zoom app, and you will use the raise hand feature during the public comment portion of the agenda. If you're using the app, it's either at the top or the bottom part of the screen, and it's a little hand. For those folks who are just joining us using a telephone, all you have to do is dial 669-900-6833, and then at the prompt, you'll put in 882-2753-9703 and press pound. And then during the public comment portion, just press *9 to speak. And I'll also add that you may have to press *6 if you need when you're unmuted. So I'll flash this up again during the public comment section. And thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. If folks would mute their microphones and place your hand on your heart and follow with me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please, City Clerk.
Mayor Eldred,
Here.
Vice Mayor Doring,
Here.
Councilmember Knutzen,
Present.
Koberstein,
Here.
Shuto.
Here.
Thank you. So we'll now move to our public forum. I just want to take a moment here to recognize that we are still in this COVID emergency. We have moved, taken some steps backward into this purple tier. It's very challenging. It's challenging for our community, our schools, our businesses. But we've been working together through these last many months, and we'll continue to do so. Everybody is doubling down their efforts. We know that avoiding gatherings, wearing our masks, washing our hands, watching our distance, the 3 Ws, the COVID protocol, we just need to keep pushing forward on that in the community, and also wanting to let our community know that we're all in this together, and we're here to work together. If folks have needs, please reach out to the City of St. Helena through our website or through City Hall. Also, readynapacounty.org is the website for the county for resources and services for folks who are in need due to the COVID issues or fire recovery. So please, let's continue working together as a community and know that if somebody has needs, if you or somebody you know, please reach out and make the contact so we can all help each other through this. So with that, we'll now move to public forum, and this is where members of the public are entitled to speak on matters of municipal concern that are not on the agenda. And each person's comments shall be limited to 4 minutes. Each person is entitled to speak on any non-agendized item only once at any meeting. Brief questions by council members for clarifications may be posed and answered, and council members may make requests that items be placed on future agendas, but in accordance with state law, no substantive discussion or action may take place unless and until the matter properly appears on the agenda. I want to check with Ms. Nixon to see if there is anybody on the line for public comment or public forum.
Thank you, Mayor Ellsworth. I am looking right now to see if there are any raised hands for the public forum, and I am not seeing any.
Okay, very good. We'll bring it back then to the council. We'll close public comment and we'll move on to our reports by staff and city council, future agenda items, and AB 1234 reports. I will begin with our city attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. I have no report this evening.
Okay. And I will move to our city manager. Oh, we have a mute, Mr. Prestwich.
Thank you. Haven't made that mistake in a little while. We have a couple of special meetings that I want to make sure are on everyone's calendar. And so on the 3rd of December, we have a community forum for comments to receive feedback from the community on the fires, both the LNU and the Glass Fire Complex. There's a flyer that Priya Nixon is sharing right now. And that second flyer that she's sharing is for a meeting on Thursday, December 7th, a diversity and inclusion community forum. And so both of these meetings will happen between today and our next council meeting on the 8th of December. This is Thursday, December 3rd for the diversity roundtable, the 7th for the community fire forum. I had those dates switched back. So that's all, and hope everyone can attend.
Thank you. We'll move to our finance director, Dr. Mitz.
Great. Thank you, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to follow up on an informational item that I had sent out earlier today regarding some confusion with the recent utility billing statement. So I wanted to just let the public know and be aware. We are migrating to our cloud-based services for our city's financial software system. In an effort to be proactive, the city finance department, we did include in the latest round of utility bills that went out a letter as well as a sample bill on what the changes are going to be. And the sample bill, inadvertently, after receiving feedback from several members of the community, we realized that there was some confusion, and a lot of members of the community thought that the additional bill that was in there is a sample bill. It's for the city of St. Helena. It's about $800. That is not a third bill that was sent out. In hindsight, we actually realized that we probably should have watermarked a big sample across it so everybody was aware. So we just wanted to spread the word that that is not an actual bill. The bill that you received was for your normal 2 months of usage for September and October. And if anybody has any questions, they can feel free to direct them over to the finance department. And the easiest way is via our email address, which is water@cityofsthelena.org, or they can contact our department directly at 707-968-2745. And again, on behalf of my department, we apologize for any confusion regarding not having a large watermark on that sample. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move to Ms. Shafopoulos, our city clerk.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to announce that I am looking for volunteers to serve on the Water Advisory Board. I'm looking for one council member, one planning commissioner, one winery water customer, and 2 members of the public to apply for the advisory board. They can contact me directly, or they can get the application on the city's website. And that is it.
Very good. And they can email you at your city address. Very good. So Ms. Smithies, our Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I wanted to announce that PG&E finally scheduled our downtown restroom power connection, and that was yesterday. So we officially have power to the restrooms. Unfortunately, at the timing of the holiday, our Exelou rep was not able to meet with us this week to train because we can't open them until our staff know how to run those bathrooms. So next week, on the 2nd, they're scheduled to train our city staff, and hopefully it'll be on afterwards. So stay tuned. I believe Stephanie Akabachi will be working on an update to the community next week when that's ready to go.
Thank you. Great to see that project moving forward. So thank you. We will move to Ms. DeRosa, our Planning and Building Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, the city submitted a letter to ABAG regarding our RENA methodology subregion shares. Both the Council and Planning Commission were copied on that, and we'll keep you apprised on any updates we get in response, and also just the overall RENA process and our upcoming housing element as well. Thank you.
So, Ms. DeRosa, there was a little issue with your volume.
Okay, how about now?
That's better. Thank you. Would you mind just going through that one more time?
Sure. Today, the city submitted a letter to ABAG regarding our RENA methodology committee, our RENA methodology shares allocation. We copied the council and the planning commission on that letter. We'll let you know if we receive any response from the methodology committee at ABAG. And then also in tandem with that, we're starting up our housing element selection process, and we'll keep the council updated on our consultant selection. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for your work on that. And also I want to thank Vice Mayor Doring for his input on that. I thought those are excellent comments and excellent work from the staff as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, sorry to interrupt, but it was brought to my attention something I should have reported as part of my report. On November 16th, as the council knows, we had a special meeting, closed session at 9 a.m. regarding existing litigation, and I just wanted to note for the record that there was no reportable action from that meeting.
Oh, very good. Thank you. So we'll move on now to our police and fire. Do we have a representative here? And I'm not seeing anyone, but I just want to reiterate that December 7th glass fire after incident meeting. What time is that in the evening?
Both of those meetings will begin at 6 p.m. on Zoom.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And now I'll move to our council members. Councilmember Knudsen. Just a wave. Okay. All right. Councilmember Chateau.
Yes, thank you. I get to report on the gratitude wall because there's a whole bunch of people that helped made it happen. So I want to make sure that we recognize them. And if anybody's watching, we have put up a gratitude wall. It's a chalkboard, big wall. Thanks to Councilmember Koberstein came up with the idea, and the council members got behind it, all of us, and our mayor and vice mayor wanted to put it up. And it's really wonderful timing this week because we've gotten to it started out with an idea to appreciate all of our city employees and the first responders who got us through the incredible, terrible fires of this year. But we realized with the timing and also just upon reflection, how much the community really helped as well. And people stepped up to get us all through everything that we've been through this year. So the wall is up for anybody that's feeling like wanting to focus on gratitude and what makes them happy. Please go to the wall that's on Hunt Avenue and Main Street. It's on the erosion business, that wall. So all of the people that made it happen. I mentioned Councilmember Mary Koberstein had the idea. And then she also organized the Federated Women. They are now volunteering. A woman is coming every day to check the wall 2 times a day to make sure that it stays clean and kind. We will be removing any messages that are not kind. You are warned. Tony Albright also really helped with this, and Oddfellows. They were the first people that I called and reached out to, and he said an enthusiastic yes. They would do whatever it takes to make it happen. It turned out we also needed the help of a very talented contractor. Frank Salvador and his team actually built the wall because we did not want to attach it to the building and we wanted it to be safe. The building owner is another wonderful Lawrence community member. He said yes, that we could do it. And then we had city staff that has also been working. Aaron, Stephanie, Philip, our buildings operations manager, our inspector, he came by and he made sure it's safe for the community. So all of these people have gone into it, and it was built with love, and it's there, and I hope everybody goes and enjoys it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's just wonderful to see it there, and thank you everybody for the efforts to.
Oh, sorry, one last thing. We have a wonderful local couple, Jody and Mike Neiman. They have the sign business on Main Street, and they not only made it possible with all of the beautiful English and Spanish labeling that's on it, but they ended up donating all of their time and materials for it to the city.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Ms. Koberstein.
I have nothing to add. Anna covered it nicely. Thanks.
Well, thank you for all your efforts towards that. And Vice Mayor Doring.
Nothing to report, but excellent work on the gratitude wall. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so briefly, I will just say, and tying in with that thought of gratitude as we get into the Thanksgiving and the season of the holidays and gratitude, that, you know, we've been through a very challenging year as a community, but everybody working together. I have great gratitude for our community, our council, our staff, and I look to what we've been through. Where we are now, the challenges, and I feel that this continued working together, being thankful to be with each other through this. This is the time, you know, that we look at where we're going, where we've been, and just taking a moment to say thank you and express gratitude. And I think that the wall is a wonderful example of that, as how our community comes together through even the most unbelievable challenges, and we keep moving forward together. So I want to express my gratitude as well. So thank you very much all. And so with that, I just wanted to we'll do a COVID update in just a moment, and I'll touch again on that then. So we'll move through our presentations and public recognitions. Seeing none, we'll move to our staff briefings. 7.1. This is update on our wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you. I'm happy to report that the initial study for the wastewater treatment plant Phase 1 upgrades was posted on the city website and state clearinghouse this week. The notice of intent was posted in the Napa Register on Monday and the St. Helena Star later this week. The link to view the initial study is on the City Public Works website under CIP or under the Public Works project page. Public comments will be accepted for a period of 30 days. From November 23rd, 2020 through December 23rd, 2020. We also received the 90% design plans last week, which we'll be reviewing and hopefully get back to the consultant by the end of next week, early following week. The state's also reviewing those plans, and the USDA, who will hopefully be loaning us the funds to do this project later next year. So we're right on schedule. We're hoping to have 100% plans and coming back to council either in January or February for authorization, approval, and advertisement for bid.
That's really wonderful. Mr. Knudsen.
Yeah, that's great, Ms. Smithies. I have a question because I was out down Shakes Lane last week, and I ended up speaking with a local resident about the fact that it's a private lane and about our agreement with them to allow the city to travel that street to get to the wastewater treatment plant. And she told me that that actually, when we do construction, we won't be allowed to send trucks down that road. And I just wanted you to be aware that the residents seem to have a different impression of our agreement with them regarding use of the road than we may be. You know, because you can get off, you can go down to Zinfandel Lane and come all the way back up, but that's a pretty big detour. And I just wanted to flag this as something that would be important to nail down before we get to finalizing the construction phases of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other council comments, questions on this item? So seeing none, we'll move now to item 7.2. This is Upper York Creek Dam project update, also by Ms. Smithies.
I'm happy to report the project is completed. We're trying to hopefully wrap up the notice completion for the 8th, but we're trying to finalize progress pay estimates and final change order. So we'll probably most likely come back to council on January 12th, 21. But the project is complete with the post-glass fire and the watershed analysis. We're still working out any additional changes that the regulatory agencies have, but I believe our time has passed to do additional work in the creek shed. And we've done everything they've asked us to do up until now. So stay tuned, but hopefully we'll have the notice completion to you by early January. Thank you.
Thank you. Any council thoughts or comments on that issue? I just want to say that if folks haven't gone up there to take a look, it is worth taking a look, and it's very moving to see the work that's been done. It's just, if we just go up there and just take a moment to think about the long process, the work, the focus, and to get to this moment of completion is just really wonderful. So I want to thank everybody involved, and I just want to thank our staff for just the continued focus to make this happen. Thank the council for the will and working together. So it's something to celebrate. So thank you very much. And with that, I'll move to our city manager and our COVID-19 update.
Thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, I don't have as positive a news to report tonight on the COVID front. I think everyone knows that COVID cases are rising in California. The state is experiencing a surge in cases as well as hospitalizations. The focus is on keeping those that are at highest risk and our essential workers safe. All of the actions that we contribute to helping in that front also help our business communities and position the state and our local economy to reopen faster. Locally, Napa County experienced our highest one-day testing volume today, so this is not great news. We today reported 97 new cases. Locally in St. Helena, we had 6 cases today. We had 11 cases yesterday, so they represent almost 20% of our total since this began just in the last couple of days. So what this tells us is we need to be mindful of all of the best practices that are associated with reducing the transmission of the COVID virus. Getting tested just so we can gather is against recommended health guidelines. So as we look to travel, as we look to gatherings or events or celebrations, here are some reasons why that is not a good idea. Just because we've tested on one day does not guarantee that anyone would remain negative. The test only captures your status at one point in time. And test results can take 24 to 48 hours to return. So a negative test is a result on that day. And by the time that result comes in, things may have changed. A person that is tested shortly after becoming infected, but before the virus has reproduced enough copies of it itself to be detected, may also receive a false negative result. Locally, the highest demand for testing has been occurring on Thursdays and Fridays each week. However, due to the Thanksgiving holiday this coming week, their testing capacity has been reduced. And because our sites are run by volunteers, the testing will resume the following week. Our numbers, we remain in a purple tier. And so the city's adjusted number for the case rate per 100,000 is 11.2. That's the highest number I've reported locally since we started this. Our positivity rate is 4.2%, so that's actually slightly better on that front. And statewide, our numbers are better than the statewide averages, which is good locally, but still, obviously, there's work to do. So I'll pause there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, bring it back to you, Mr. Presswich.
That's all.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, and we continue to meet weekly with a group of Napa County mayors and supervisors. Everybody is very focused on this. We want to make sure that our businesses feel supported, that our community feels supported. So please continue communicating. If folks have issues, concerns, questions, reach out to the City of St. Helena or the County of Napa. And we are advocating for increased testing. We're advocating everywhere we can for support to make sure that our businesses can work through this, and that our community has the resources and services that are available. So it's challenging, but we've been in this for a long time. We've moved through, and we'll just keep going and get to where we need to get at the end of this. But we appreciate all the community cooperation. We just have to keep doing it. So thank you, everybody, and we'll just keep pushing forward on this. Okay, so then with that, we'll move to our consent items. And this is where members of the council or public may ask that any items be considered individually for purposes of considering alternative action, for extended discussion, or for public comment. Unless that is done, one motion may be used to adopt all recommended actions. So I'm just going to read the numbers of the items, and if anybody would like one pulled, please let me know. So I'll read through beginning with 8.1, and I'm seeing no hands. 8.2, seeing no hands. 8.3 and 8.4. I'm seeing Mr. Knudsen. And then we will move to 8.5 and seeing nothing on 8.5. 8.6. 8.7. 8.8. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to pass the items with the exception of 8.4.
So moved.
Oh, second.
And roll call?
Vice Mayor Doring,
Yes.
Councilor Chateau,
Yes.
Koberstein,
Yes.
Knudsen,
Yes.
Mayor Ellsworth.
Yes. And we'll circle back on 8.4. Mr. Knudsen, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wondered, Mr. Presswich, if you could give an update for the residents about exactly where we are with this project from a design, construction, approval, design, construction phase. There seems to be some confusion among some of the residents in that neighborhood. Thank you.
And just for clarity, the purpose of this particular action tonight is an amendment to accommodate a design change that would include recycled water, a purple pipeline that would be designed to be installed in on the Grayson Street. Now, in terms of the project, we had a community meeting where nearby residents were invited to participate in a forum and provide feedback on the design of both the South Crane and Grayson. We also had a meeting with our Active Transportation and Sustainability Committee and received feedback from them and any members of the public. The step now is that the engineers that we've hired will be returning to their office and preparing plans that we will bring back to and I'm going to look to our city engineer to make sure I'm accurate on this, but we will bring those back to another community meeting for feedback. Will those plans be 65%, Erica, or 90% plans? I'm not remembering the exact number.
I believe either 75% plans.
Okay, so we'll be looking for reaction to 75% plans at that next community meeting. And Erica, also, I believe we have another plan to share those same documents with our Active Transportation and Sustainability Committee again. before the engineers return to to bring back 90% plans for bidding. Is that accurate?
Correct. And we've also met with the principals of the two schools with the school district's help last.
Mr. Knudsen, does that answer your question? Yes. Okay. Very good. So with that, I'll entertain a motion on 8.4.
So moved.
We have a second? And a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Doreen? Councilmember Chateau?
Yes.
Coberstein?
Yes.
Knudsen?
Yes.
Mayor Eldredge?
Yes. So we'll move past our public hearings on old business, seeing none, and we'll move to our new business. This item is 11.1, and it's consideration and approval of a resolution approving City of St. Helena policy P-F1-0020, acceptance of donations and charitable gifts to the city. And this is Dr. Mitz, our finance director.
Thank you very much, Mayor Ellsworth and council members. I'm going to do a quick screen share. So hopefully everyone can read my screen. Thank you very much, Mayor Ellsworth, for introducing this item, so I don't need to read this portion of it. Quick background and purpose of the policy. This policy was developed as part of the City Council adopted 3-year goals and work plan. This policy, as presented to City Council, was a collaboration between myself, Councilmember Knudsen, as well as the city attorney. And the purpose is to establish a policy for accepting donations in a transparent and accountable manner. The recommended policy before you today, it identifies the following. It identifies the types of donations, the consistency with city interests and other considerations to take before accepting a donation, the acceptance of donations and the threshold amount, acknowledgement and the accounting for any types of donations accepted. If we have the instance where there's a declined donation, the disposition of donations, as well as donations as charitable contributions. There are several types of donations outlined in this policy. So there's cash donations, there's real or personal property donations, and in lieu contributions. Additionally, we have outlined and defined designated donations and undesignated donations. Designated donations would be something that whoever's making the donation would say there's one type of benefit for the donation. For example, our Parks and Rec department, they do get several people throughout the year that make cash donations to be able to support various scholarships. So for other people who might not be able to afford a program, it gives them a bank of funds that they could use to designate scholarships. Additionally, the library might have types of donations. Public Works might have some type of donations, whether it's a public art project or we've had instances where it's the funding available for a bench. Undesignated donations are just donations that the city receives and the donor does not tell us how we can use those donations. City interests and considerations. So when we do have a donation that is brought to the city for designated donations, one of the things that we are going to look at through this policy is, does it have a purpose consistent with the city's strategic goals and objectives? And also, is the acceptance of the donation in the best interest of the city of St. Helena? So the policy does outline that we do need to look at city interest. We also need to consider whether public trust would ever be compromised with the acceptance of a donation, and we also do need to comply with all applicable laws. We also will take into consideration any initial and future expenditures that may be requested or required for use and maintenance of a particular donation. We would not want to get into a circumstance where somebody has made a very, very charitable contribution and the city is unable to continue to maintain that after a certain designated period. Certain donation thresholds that are placed in this policy. So we've broken this up into amount and authority. So the first, probably one of the most common ones we get is a gratuitous gift. For example, a gift basket. And so the authority for this, it can be accepted by the department director, and it has to be made available to benefit all employees. For example, if a gift basket comes in during the holidays, what typically happens is it's placed on a counter where any city employee who walks by can have the benefit of getting something from this gift basket. We do also get donations of wine, and per our policy right now, informal policy, we do inventory all wine and we do place it in our city wine cellar. And I'm very proud to say that we do have a city wine cellar. And wine that is kept in that wine cellar is utilized for the benefit of city, and it's used at various city events. And that is by the designation and the authority of the city manager. It comes to the finance director or the finance manager, and we make sure we have controlled inventory. Any donations under $1,000 under this policy can be accepted by the department director. Any donations over $1,000 but under $10,000 is accepted by the city manager, and any donations over $10,000 is accepted by the city council. It is important to note that within the policy that's being presented tonight, any donations over $5,000 will be reported in the quarterly grant report, so the council and the community are all aware of any donations that we have received. And for in any instance that it's over $10,000, that donation will be brought to the mayor and the vice mayor. The mayor and the vice mayor have the authority to review such offers and then provide a recommendation to the city council. And if any recommendations are approved by the city council that are over $10,000, it will require a written agreement. And this could be in conjunction with other agreements such as a development agreement. For the acknowledgement and accounting of the donations, anything under $10,000 will be done through a donation acceptance form, and that form is included as an attachment to the policy. Any donations over $10,000, as talked about in the last slide, does require a written agreement. And the donation acceptance forms and any written agreements are subject to disclosure pursuant to the California Public Records Act. And then the finance department is responsible for providing for the deposit and financial administration of any donation to the city. For declined donations, the policy does stipulate that the city reserves the right to decline any donation if, upon review, acceptance of the donation offer is determined at the sole discretion of the city to not be in the best interest of the city. The distribution of donations, so if it is a tangible item, if that can be cash, it can also be some type of property or in lieu property or real property. So for the use or at the discretion of the department director or the city manager in accordance with this policy. So that goes back to the limits of under 1,000, between 1,000 and 10,000, and over 10,000. If there are designated cash donation, this will be deposited into the appropriate revenue account for the designated department, and the finance department would track it that way. If it is an undesignated cash donation under 5,000, so this is if the donor gives the city up to $5,000, but they don't tell us what we can use it for, we will deposit that into the city's general fund other revenue account, and it can be used for any general fund purposes. If there's an undesignated cash donation between $5,000 and $25,000, the policy does designate that this will go to the nonprofit grant program. And so this is part of the city council current adopted nonprofit grants program that we allocate funds towards every year. So that's where those funds will go. And then any undesignated cash donations over $25,000 will be distributed at the direction of the city council. For the disposition of donations, unless it is strictly restricted otherwise in writing as part of the donation, the city may keep, sell, or dispose of any donation it receives. And then the final area that I want to touch on is the donations of charitable contributions. So there are certain donations that may be tax deductible if it meets the requirements of certain IRS code. And those sections are designated within the actual policy. It is important to note that the city does not provide legal, accounting, tax, or other such advice to donors, and that is also outlined in the policy. And then the city managers will provide donors whose donations are accepted within a written statement in compliance with the IRS code. And based on that, the City Council action tonight, it's recommended the City Council adopt a resolution approving the City of St. Helena City Council Policy P-FI-0020 for the acceptance of donations and charitable gifts to the city. And on that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Well, this is just terrific work. I just want to say thank you. Getting this structure together is really helpful. Are there any initial comments or questions from council? I'm seeing Ms. Chateau.
I do. I have a quick question. I was just thinking about this with the gratitude wall, since, somebody donated an amount that was under that $1,000. But I wanted to know, is it easy for people when they're donating still? Does everyone, no matter the size of the donation, let's say like $100 donation, do they need to be filling out this form? Or do department heads fill it out when somebody comes with a donation? Or like if it was me, could I fill out the form for somebody and then submit it?
It would be the department head that would actually be accepting the donation. The actual policy is silent on whether the city council could accept the donation, but it is easy enough where, for instance, I know that if you worked with me, I would easily just fill out the form and I can send it off to whoever the donor is.
So that was my question. So the donor doesn't have to fill out the form. The burden's not on them to do. I don't want to make it hard for people to donate is what I'm trying to get at. And it sounds like we can help people with the form when they have a.
We will absolutely help.
Okay.
We will help people with the form. The only thing that we cannot do is put a dollar value on something. So that is something that we'd work with the donor on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I will open it to public comment. I'm seeing Vice Mayor Doring.
Thank you, Mayor. I assume that this policy does not affect contributions to either the Police Officers Association or the Fire Department Association, that they're outside of the scope of this policy?
That is correct.
Okay. I'll look to Ms. Nixon to see if, Ms. Koberstein, did you have a comment? No. I'll look to Ms. Nixon to see if we have any public comment on this issue.
All right, I'm looking to see if there are any raised hands for public comment for this item, and I am not seeing any at this time.
Okay, very good. I'll bring it back to the council, and unless there are further questions or comments from the council, entertain a motion on this item. Mr. Doring?
I would just offer one clarifying point in 4C, maybe a little amendment here. It says offers of donations of cash or items valued more than $10,000 must be accepted by the city council. I would offer a slight language change, must be considered for acceptance.
Yes, I see what you're saying there, Mr. Doring. I think that makes sense.
Probably an A and B, the same kind of thing, even though it's a little more discretion there, it has may, but I would also say may consider for acceptance so that it's not an automatic acceptance. There's a process. That's it. I'll move approval if with those changes, unless anybody else has something.
Nope, I'll second.
Yeah, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Doring,
Yes.
Councilmember Chateau,
Yes.
Koberstein,
Yes.
Yes.
Knudsen, Mayor Ellsworth.
Yes, and again, thanks for the work done on this. This was excellent. So that is a yes. Thank you. Okay, very good. So that is our final item this evening. And unless there's anything else for the good of the order, I will. I just want, before we adjourn, I want to again encourage folks to really focus on this COVID protocol. We can get through this. We've done a good job so far, and we have to just keep doing a good job, wearing our masks, watching our distance, washing our hands, and being very cognizant that gatherings can be problematic in terms of spread. And so if we just stay focused, we can get through this. I also want to say that through this challenging year, we're moving into the Thanksgiving time, a time of gratitude. And even through challenges like this, I know that we can find joy and deep meaning in all that we do every day. And I, again, want to express my gratitude to the council, to the community, to the staff. And thank you, everybody. And with that, we will, and I hope everybody has a wonderful celebration this week of Thanksgiving. And with that, we will adjourn.
Bye. Stay safe.